Hello everyone. Now, in the lecture series of microprocessor and microcontroller, in the last session we have seen and we have discussed about the types of AVR registers, right? In which we have seen first type, that is general purpose register, and we have discussed about that. Now, in today's session we are going to discuss again with the AVR register and how many different types of memories are connected with this AVR 8-bit AVR microcontroller. So the topics to be covered in the following session are AVR data memory, program memory, data memory, then register file, then IO registers, extended IO registers, internal SRAM and EEPROM. So these are the various memories that are connected with the 8-bit AVR microcontroller for storing program and data. Now we will discuss one by one. So first, that is the AVR data memory. Now while talking about the AVR data memory, in AVR microcontrollers there are two kinds of memory space. First, that is code memory space, and second, that is the data memory space. So as we have discussed in the architecture of AVR microcontroller, that the AVR microcontroller follows the Howard architecture. So the code memory space will be separate, and the data memory space will also be separate, and both will have a separate address bus as well as data bus. So based on this, the AVR memories or AVR microcontroller have two types of memories, that is code memory and second, that is data memory. Our program is stored in code memory space, whereas the data memory stores the data, right? So for these two different memories are distributed for storing the code memory differently and for storing the data differently. There are three types of memory in the AVR architecture. They are first, that is program memory for storing the code or program code, and second, that is the data memory, which is divided into two, that is data memory for storing the data that is RAM, and for storing data, that is EEPROM. Right, so these two last two are for the data memory to store the data. If the data does not change frequently, then we can store in EEPROM, and if it is changing frequently, then it is called as data memory, right? And the program code will be stored in program memory. Now next, that is we are going to discuss, that is what is program memory. So the program memory is also referred to as flash, in which your code is stored. So the program memory is also called as the flash memory, in which your program code is stored. Now in this figure you can see, this is the figure of program memory, in which the first part, that is from 0x0000, that is the application flash section, right, from where the application related programs need to be written. And here in the last session there is a boot flash session to reboot this program memory, right? And to reboot this program memory, we will have a 0x0 FFF or this, right? Depend on how much program memory is connected with that particular AVR. Depending on the settings in the fuse bits, the entire flash memory can be used as application storage, or the portion can be code blocked off for a bootloader programmer, right? So when the application particular for the for program memory, whatever the memory required for application flash section is used for application purpose, and rest of the portion is used for the bootloader program to load that particular program or to reset that particular program. Flash memory is a non-volatile memory, meaning its data does not go away when the microcontroller loses the power, right? So flash memory is a non-volatile memory. So whenever the program controller is switched off of power off, that particular program will be set in this program memory. There will not be lose on. Flash cannot be accessed as quickly as data memory, and individual bytes cannot be modified at a time, so it is not a good place to store variables which constantly change. So in program memory, that is it is a one type of ROM memory, right, flash memory. So what we need to do is that the variables which or the data or the code which are going to change constantly, that cannot be stored in this particular program memory, rather than what we store, that the program which is not changing frequently, that the data, that memory or that code that has been sent in this program memory. However, in addition to storing your application code, it is a good place to put constants like lookup tables or strings. So like any lookup table, if we write the program of square number, right, then the square lookup table can be stored in this particular program memory, as we know that the particular number square will not change at any time, right? Or we can write, if we are writing a program about fractional point, right? So for that also we can use that particular lookup tables in this program memory. So the data or the application or the code on which it is not changing frequently, that is used to be stored in this program memory. Next, that is data memory. So data memory is composed of 4 parts. They are register file, IO registers, extended IO registers, and internal SRAM, that is specific RAM. Each and every we will see in detail. Now, unlike flash, data memory is not composed of single memory type. Rather, it is a contiguous mapping of addresses across multiple memory types, right? So data memory is connected with these 4 parts, right? So as soon as this register file address gets completed, then on the next location this IO register has started. After that, again it's after when the IO register gets completed, and the extended IO register memory will be start from the next location. So this whole data memory is divided into these 4 parts. The breakdown of data memory is shown below. The location and the size of general purpose working register, IO register, and extended IO register are the same across all the chips. So for all the AVR registers, the general GPR register, IO register, and extended register are the same, right? But the size of internal SRAM will vary from different models. So only the internal SRAM size will be varied. Now, as you can see in this figure, this is the whole data memory starting from 0000 to FFFH, right? In which we have 32 general purpose register from R0 to R31. So the address will start from 0000 to 001F for general purpose register. And in this, it will be divided into R0 to R31, where each register will be having a 8-bit. Right? Then from the next location after 1F, the next location will be 20. So starting from 20 to 5F, it is given as for the IO register, that is a special function register, right? In which there are various types of register. For stack pointer, for status register, all are given in the this IO register with having the IO address also. So this is the data address. So if we want to fetch the data, right, so we need to use this address. And if we want to use this IO register as an input output port, so for this the IO address is given over here, right? This the detailed IO register we will see in the next chapter. And then there will be a last, that is SRAM, will having a size varies from 0060 to 4F, that is FFFH, right? So it varies from chip to chip. Otherwise these both will be same for all the AVR registers. Now talking about the first type of data memory, that is the register file. So in the last session also we have discussed about the general purpose register. These are the same register files which we are going to discuss, and which we are going to see how it is connected with ALU. Right? So the register file begins at the start of data memory and contains 32 general purpose working register that are directly connected to the ALU, that is arithmetic logic unit. So these 32 general purpose register which are worked as for storing data and for the ALU purpose. The general purpose working register are used as operands for most instruction. The general purpose working register are extremely important and useful. Right? So, for the general purpose, the significance of general purpose register are they are using for the operands for most of the instruction. If we, let's say, if we use the add instruction, then with the add instruction there will be a two general purpose register in which the data of that register need to be added. So these two registers are used as the operands, right? And the general purpose working register are extremely important and useful. Any data manipulation in the AVR requires using one of this register. For ALU calculations, if we want to manipulate any data in this particular register, we need at least one general purpose register for this. Now in this figure, now you can see that this is the 32 and 32 general purpose register, each having the 8 bit. So 32 cross 8 general purpose register, it is connected directly with the ALU, right? So ALU will have the data bus of 8 bit wide, right? Now these general purpose registers data will connected with this ALU. In this ALU, the arithmetical logical instruction which is written over in this ALU, that will be run with the help of ALU. Now whenever this instruction will run or execute, the result will be again stored in this particular general purpose register. So the result will be again stored in this general purpose register, and if there are any flags, right, affected with the help of this result, then this affected result will be held in status register, right? So for AVR, these are the different flags which we will see in the next session, right, which is carry flag, zero flag, negative flag, overflow flag, sign flag, and the half carry flag, right? So let's say if there is addition of two numbers, right? So the two numbers can be given from this register. So this register will have a two numbers. Now ALU will do the addition of these both numbers, and the result will be stored in this general purpose register. And if there is a carry, then this carry flag will be set in this status register, which will be used as a carry bit for the next addition. Clear? Done? Okay. Now register R26 and R27, they both are combined. Then R28 and R29 are combined, and R30 and R31 are combined, and these are given name as X, Y, and Z respectively. So X register will be formed with the help of 26 and 27, Y will be formed of 28 and 29, and Z will be formed of 30 and 31. So these three registers will be the combination of two 8-bit registers will form a 16-bit register. So the 16-bit address, right, of AVR, they can be used as a pointers, right? So they are referred to as X, Y, and Z pointers, as they can be used to store or retrieve data from memory by placing an address in them. So we will give 16-bit address in respective either X, Y, or Z, and this address will be point out to that particular memory, and from that memory the data will be fetched out, right? So this is the general purpose register starting from R0 to R31, where R26 and R27 will combine to form a X register, while R26 will have the lower 8-bit and R27 will be having the higher 8-bit. Similarly, R28 and R29 will form the Y register, and R30 and R31 will form the Z register, right? So this is the general construction of GPR, that is general purpose register. Now here same way it is formed like this. X register will form having the R26 and R27 will be denoted by lower bit, so XL, and R27 that will be higher bit, so XH, right? Similarly Y register, YL and YH. R28 will be YL and R29 will be YH. And Z register, so R30 will be ZL and R31 will be ZH. Now second type of data memory registers, that is IO registers. So the IO registers are the location in data memory which controls certain microcontroller functions. All the data direction registers and ports are located in the IO register portion of the data memory, right? How this can be done, we will see in the for the programming we will see in the next chapter, right? Here you can only have to write this particular theory based on IO registers, right? Now, because they are needed so often, there are special instructions which allow to quick access and modifications of this IO registers. So whenever it will be used as IO register, so it will have a special instructions for access as well as modifications. The IO registers are also non-volatile like a flash memory. They will initialize to default values that may or may not need to be changed by your program. Then third, that is extended IO registers. So most controllers have more functions and peripherals that can supported by 64 bytes allocated to IO register. Thus, there is an extended IO register section, right? So the IO register is allocated to 64 bytes, but if there are more functions or more peripherals to be connected, then we need to connect this in extended IO register section. The extended IO section only differs from a regular IO section in that does not support all the same instruction to set, clear or copy its contents. So the extended IO section will have a different set of instructions for the to set or to on that particular input output device, or to copy its content from input or output device. However, its function and purpose are exactly the same as IO register. Like the regular IO register, the extended IO register are also non-volatile. So these are the characteristics of extended IO register. Next, that is internal SRAM. So SRAM stands for static random access memory. Referred to as RAM is the last part of data memory. SRAM is a volatile, so its contents cannot be guaranteed to start up, right? So whenever there will be a power loss for microcontroller, the data in SRAM will be lost. However, unlike flash, single bytes can be written to SRAM and its access time is quicker, making it much better for storing temporary values. SRAM is very convenient runtime memory type. So whenever the program is running, during that program running, we can use our internal SRAM for storing the temporary values, right? For permanent values, we can store in IO register or we can store in extended IO register. It is great when you have more variables that can fit in general purpose registers and need a place to put them a while they are not being used. So whenever we are using more variables, and if it is not used frequently, then that particular variables can be stored in SRAM. And last, that is EEPROM. So in the previous slide we have discussed about the various types of data memory, right? And in the next that we will start about EEPROM. So EEPROM is another non-volatile storage location in the AVR architecture for data memory, right? Unlike flash, individual bytes may be written to it, although its access time is much slower. EEPROM is best served for configuration settings, that is, things that are need to be available at startup but may be changed at runtime and can be used the next time the chip starts up, right? So same way like flash, for storing the program we are using the flash or program memory. Similarly, for storing that particular data which is permanent or which cannot be stored which cannot be changed frequently, can be stored in EEPROM. So that's all for the today's session. In this session we have discussed about the various types of AVR register. First, that was the program memory, and second, that was the data memory, in which there were the 4 parts, right? That is the register file, IO registers, extended IO registers, and the internal SRAM. And the next, that was the EEPROM, right? So that's all for today's session. In the next session we are going to discuss about the AVR status registers. So